with the hands underneath the shoulders, push back to Adho Mukha Virasana, forward hero pose. So lengthening out the lower back. Just a breath here, just to stretch out the lower back, and then coming forward again. So as you come forward to plank and then lower yourself down. Good. And again. So lifting the hands off and then lifting the upper body, that's it, up by not using the hands. So that we're actually using the back, building up the strength in our lower back. The legs are together and they're nice and active. Breath long, smooth and even. And coming all the way back down. And then press back to Adho Mukha Virasana again. Arms nice and straight, hands spread. And then coming forward again. And this time, this last one, we're going to use the hands on the mat. So Al will keep his hands on the mat. And then we're going to lift up, straightening the arms. So it doesn't matter if you can't get the arms completely straight. So Bhujangasana Cobra pose, so if you can imagine a cobra before it strikes. That's it, keeping the shoulders down the spine. Now, if this is too intense, the other version is you can take the hands nice and wide, so you can have them even wider than your mat. Thanks, Al. So just up a little bit, shoulders down the spine, breath smooth, and all the way back down. And then lifting back to Adho Mukha Virasana. So as I was saying, these back bending poses, they strengthen the back, and they strengthen and tone the kidneys and the liver, and they also encourage brain and body connection, so they get that connection happening a little bit better. So they're great for children to practice. So let's coming forward, again laying on our tummies, and this time we're going to come into Shalabhasana, Locust pose, and so we'll have the hands down behind us, that's it. Shoulders down the spine and legs active, and again tailbone long, and we're already working the core muscles. So again we're going to do 3, and the first one what we're going to do is just lifting the upper body up first. So the forehead comes off first and then the shoulders. So the legs are staying down on the floor and we're just lifting the upper body up. Long, smooth and even breaths, and really make sure you're working the core muscles, sides of the waist into the spine, and skin on either side of the navel in towards the navel. And exhale down, and then bring the hands underneath the shoulders again, and then push back to Adho Mukha Virasana. Good. So as we looked at earlier, Eleanor's got her knees a little bit wider. So that variation's a little bit easier with the toes together and the knees wide. And then coming forward again. And arms down. 2 more to go. And this time we're going to lift up just the legs. So lifting the legs. So keep the legs nice and straight. You can see here with Al and Eleanor, they've got the legs nice and straight. So they're not bending, bend your knees, Al. So they're not bending, and the legs aren't wide. Take your legs wide. So this can happen, and the heels apart. Yeah. So legs are nice and straight, and the knees are nice and together. That's it. And release down. And hands underneath the shoulders, and releasing all the way back. So I forgot to mention, for guys laying on their tummies and doing these back strengthening poses, they might need to make a few adjustments, okay, so that it's comfortable for them. And if, for women, if your pubic bone is pressing into the mat, you can get a blanket to lay on underneath you. So last one, let's come forward. So, and this time we're going to do both the upper body and the legs. So when we're ready, inhaling and lifting up. So inhaling and keep breathing, long, smooth and even breaths. So the arms, fingertips reaching back towards the heels. The toes reaching towards the wall or the space behind you. So last couple of breaths, and release all the way back down. hands underneath, and pressing all the way back to Adho Mukha Virasana. Good. Taking a couple of breaths here. So in Adho Mukha Virasana, well, just while we're breathing here and having a little rest, you can see that Al is a little bit higher, so he hasn't got his full head on the mat. So it's better to have the head like this and the spine in a nice alignment than to try and get, can you take your head down to the mat for me, Al? And see how the line of energy, it's really dropped. So we want to keep the energy nice and flowing. You can see the shoulders are sort of coming together here. We always want to keep the shoulders nice and broad, and we always want to keep the head up. Fantastic. And then we're going to come to laying on our backs. And let's bring the arms out to the side, palms facing up towards the sky. And then bend the knees into the chest. We're just going to come into a nice, easy side twist. So taking the knees over towards the right palm. Good. That's it. So trying to keep the knees together. And the other thing in this pose is that the top knee will often sort of slip back. So you want to keep the knees stacking one on top of the other like so. And keep the shoulders down the spine, the arms extended from fingertip to fingertip, and the breath soft. And then when we're ready, inhaling back to the middle. And to the other side. So this is a really nice pose if you get a lot of back pain, so you can just do it laying on the floor anytime. So you don't have to do poses before or after. This is just a pose you can lie down and do whenever you've got a couple of spare minutes, and it just really helps stretch out that lower back. And stacking the knees one on top of the other. Good. So it can also help release sciatic pain as well, that shooting pain that you get down the back of the legs. Good. And then inhaling the legs back up. Good. And if we roll over to our right side and come to sitting in Dandasana, and we'll just finish off with Paschimottanasana. So we're going to do sitting in Dandasana. So the hands are by the buttocks, the shoulders are down the spine, the crown of the head is moving up towards the sky, and we're grounding down evenly into the earth through the sit bones. So you might be sitting more on one sit bone than the other. So really just try to make sure that that's even. And the legs are what we say Tadasana legs. So like we did at the beginning class in mountain pose, and we had our legs nice and active and our feet broad and spread, we do the same here in Dandasana. And when we're ready, inhaling the arms up above the head and then coming forward. Good. And what you can do, if you've got some folded blankets, because we want to start winding down now before we do Shavasana, you can take a couple of blankets or a couple of pillows and do some head support. So I'm going to give Eleanor a couple of blankets, and if she just comes forward so that the head is resting here on the blankets. The arms are nice and soft. The shoulders are still moving down the spine, so it's really important in your forward bends, as I've expressed in every pose, to have the shoulders down the spine. Now the main reason for that is that the lungs come right up to the collarbones, right up to here. They're actually quite a big organ. They come right up to here. So we need to, when we lift the shoulders up like this, which we tend to do in daily life, and we take that into our yoga practice, we're shortening our breath. So we really need to keep the shoulders down. And then the lungs can breathe nice and freely, and then the mind can become soft. So Al here, he hasn't got support, and that's fine too. Or what you can do, the other variation that we can do is use a chair. So again, any chair will do that you've got around home.